Welcome to another episode of Her Brain Connection Lab, where all things are pointed towards her perspective and view in an autistic ADHD relationship. And we need relationships of all kinds. So here is some interesting and fun update. We are going to be live the first Thursday of every month on XXO Connect beginning June 1st. Allie, tell people a little bit about what they can expect the first Thursday of every month as we come in with Her Brain Connection Lab.
Yeah, I want everyone to know this is a place for you. This is a place for you to come talk about what's going on in your relationship. Carole Jean and I will always be coming with a little bit of a topic, but we are flexible people who are here to also talk about what's going on with you. Sometimes people bring up some boundary things. Sometimes people just need to laugh it out. Like Carole Jean and I are both just laughing out about our own relationships, and it's not actually anything all that bad. It's just like a silly vent. But really it's just us being able to bring information to you. Like, for example, her and I are both very into how hormones affect you differently as a neurodiverse woman, right? And so that might be a topic that would come in because that plays into the relationship.
It really does. And we'll be helping you kind of navigate too, because so often in late identified life, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, now I know this about myself. This is something like a new understanding and how that has been showing up in my relationships. How do I navigate that? Especially if you've got like these moments where things there's conflict and things seem to escalate or and they kind of snowball. It's like, how do I stop that? How do I sort of shift it for myself? And yep, the dog is mad. Her daddy went out the door. What are some of those things that we usually like don't get to really talk about much in our relationships, just in general, Allie?
Well, I think you and I were just having this conversation. How do you communicate about some of your quirky behaviors or some of your basically not typical behaviors, right? So, one that comes up a lot for myself in our relationship is sort of having that external versus internal motivation and how to navigate that. The other one that can come up for a lot of neurodiverse women is struggling being told no or being given feedback. So really helping to learn how to integrate that, right? Because a person's not bad if they're giving you feedback or saying no, but sometimes we have a story around it and can really hit us in a different way. And our reactions can feel far too large for a situation. So starting to recognize that and also maybe helping your partner communicate differently, right? Maybe it's not no, maybe it's giving two options or, like just speaking a little bit more compassionately about it. Another thing that we'll really be talking about is communication styles, because that's part of it. If you are with someone who is a direct communicator, which Carole Jean and I can both definitely have that quality, and it is a good thing, right? We both own our businesses. We have to be able to communicate directly, but sometimes within relationships, it can feel harsh. So ways to know, how do I communicate and how does my partner communicate? And also learning I don't need to communicate with my partner like I do with coworkers or friends necessarily. It can be a different style.
Oh my gosh, yes, to all of that. And the other side of it is also too some of the stuff that's kind of been coming up. You and I've been talking about this a lot lately, especially as we've been working on the book coming out in early next year for Her Brain Connection Lab is, like the executive dysfunction stuff that shows up. So we've got like this spiky profile and that can create such a conflict in our relationships because our partner sees like we do all this business stuff. We do all of this really high level stuff. And then like as Josh will tease me and he does it lovingly, but it still is something I have to work through. He's like, oh, you got the horde going this week. And I'm just like,
Yes.
I'm just not I've got piles because that's 100% of our organizational systems is in piles. I have done the research on this one. But it's and then there's this like little ickling shame part of like, God, I can do all these things, but I'm not doing this. I'm failing at this, right? Where like I'm looking at the mess right now because we've been traveling so much. And it's like still haven't fully unpacked. And he's packing to leave. So it's like a total disaster. And at the same time, it drives me crazy. But it also is just like, why am I not? Right. And I think that comes up a lot. And our partners are like, well, why aren't you doing that? Why can't you do that?
And sometimes they extend meaning of you don't respect me, you don't care about me, you're not making me a priority. And again, that's where executive dysfunction can be really tricky because you might start going, well, yeah, why am I not? It bothers me too. Or why am I doing it differently? Like, for example, my husband is here and might start to giggle. He has wanted me to do the whole clean up for 10 minutes at the end of the day. And it's a genius idea. And I think it's actually a very smart strategy. I struggle so much with it. Whereas if I have the whole morning to myself, I'll like scrub our toilets. I'm so excited to clean. But it's that learning how to, not the all or nothing mentality, really trying to break through that.
Oh man, there's thinking traps. There's 12 of them, and they will definitely disrupt. And especially if when you identify your 2 to 3 primary thinking traps, because we all have them, and they come from, sort of how we were brought up and the impact and the influence of the people around us, because they're gonna have similar thinking traps, be it all or nothing or catastrophizing, really rigid thinking things. But our partners have them too, and they may have a similar or different thinking traps. And when we can identify our own, we can be aware of what the other ones are, and then how people in our life are using those. That really does cut down on a lot of conflict, I found. Because then I'm like, oh, he's got that all or nothing going on this. Like either the kitchen's clean or it's not clean.
Yes, that is that is my relationship in a nutshell, right? Like I'll get it to 90%, but my partner is still seeing it as like, well, there's still stuff on the counter, just finish it and then it's clean, right? So really trying to, yeah, work through that. I think thinking traps actually, that could be a really fun way to start these, talking about specific ones because we all fall into them.
Oh, and I think we could talk about this because this is how it started out this morning for you and I. Because I had just done it myself, which I was kind of chuckling when you said the same thing. When you have something, you just saw it, you just had your hand on it, and all of a sudden you're totally blind to it. You cannot find it. You're like, I know I just saw this thing.
Yeah.
And that is a big part of like the ADHD part of our brain. It's like when you've got so much going on, you just like visually select stuff out, and when I worked in vision science, that's something that really comes up a lot for neurodistinct brains.
Mhm.
And it has to do with stress point learning, the volume of information you can take in and what your brain will process, what you see, how it identifies details. And that can be like, if you don't realize that that's happening and your partner's going, well, why can't you finish? And I'm like, it's finished. It,
Yeah.
I don't see that
I don't see what you're
thing
talking
that you see.
about. Or the amount and my partner, he's very good about this, I must say. I double buy groceries because he'll be like, we have rice. And I'm like, no, we don't. And it's because it's not directly in front of me, or I've literally don't see it that I've bought 2 bags of rice before. And rice is not something you need multiple bags of. So like they take up a lot of room, right? So he's really good now. He's starting to realize like, I'm not doing it like, I'm not trying to be lazy, I'm not doing it because I don't care. I'm not seeing it, and he is, and it's really quick for him. So I think that's another big thing about being an ND relationship, leaning into what you 2 do have strengths in. Just easy automatic strengths, really making sure that you're leaning in on that.
I love that. That's one of the things too, like when you talk about stuff that you don't see. For me, it was the freezer. And I was like, I know we have stuff, but then I'll go buy it again because I can't find it. Right. And then it's just frustrating, or I don't have the time. I don't want to take the time to stop and go dig through the whole thing to find whatever I was looking for. It's just easier to go buy it. So I started making a list that goes on the front of the freezer. And when you take something out, you cross it off, but you know what's in there with just the list. So I don't have to go through the whole stupid thing, because visually, sometimes the text is easier than actually going through like a big thing. So we'll talk about some strategies. We'll share some stuff that Allie and I have discovered that works for us just in our own lives on a personal level, but on a relationship level. So we're really excited to share our first Thursday of every month starting June the 1st with you. We would love for you to come join us in XXO Connect. It is an amazing platform. It is all live human connection all week. And when you sign up to become a member of XXO Connect, you don't just get Allie and I the first Thursday of every month. You also get our Neurodiverse room, which is me, and I host it every Thursday from 3 to 4 Eastern time. So the first Thursday of the month, you get Her Brain Connection Lab, and the rest of the month, we've got just dive in, have regular, different conversations about being neurodistinct. But you also get financial coaching. You get breathwork coaching. There's yoga. There's energy and sound healing. There's relationship, diving in and talking about your relationship. We've got great coaches talking about sex. We've got people talking about life after divorce. We've got all kinds of parenting with Mindy Green. She's amazing. Oh my gosh, there's so much within the XXO Connect. You get, I think it's like 15 or $20,000 worth of coaching every month.
And it's there to be used. Like, I mean, people are showing up, and yeah, the caliber of people, again, I feel like this is just an underutilized gem right now that eventually is going to be much more utilized, because I think people are still understanding all that they can get. But yeah, I was literally telling Carole Jean the other day, I was like, I just need like a nervous system reset, which is a room I think I want to do, by the way, a little plug. But she was like, oh, you should go to this room. It's breath work. Like, you have access. And I was like, you're bringing up such a good point. So I think, once you start to be on the platform more, you start to realize ways that it can support you. And I love this model. I feel like it's becoming something that more people are seeing. Like, one-on-one therapy is phenomenal, but it's costly, right? And then two, sometimes you just need little tweaks. You just need like someone to guide you through breath work for 20 minutes and you feel a lot better. You don't necessarily need to go talk everything out. Or sometimes you need other people in this group, maybe the Her Brain Connection Lab group, talking about one of their examples in their relationship for you to go, oh, this thing is playing out in mine, but with different objects or something, right? But this exact thing is playing out, and I've never been able to put a name to it. So that's why it's really great. It's truly people talking about what's going on in their lives. And sometimes I think that's even more helpful.
Oh, there's so much that we learn together in community connection. And I love the fact that it's virtual. You can show up with your camera on, with your camera off, whatever feels comfortable to you. There's a chat box there. So we've got lots of different ways and accessibility points so that you can show up in the way that works best for you. Like if it's been a long day and it's a room that's late in the afternoon and you're a morning person and that's just not your peak performance time, but you just need to show up to have a little pouring into yourself, you can show up in the best way for you, and that's totally okay. And this is a very neuro-inclusive space.
I love the pouring in you just gave me, because I have been, as you can see, I just drank coffee. I just had a little inner yawn. Maybe I should do that. Go get a little pouring in of, I love the idea of like breath work or talking about sex. Like anything that's exciting to you is going to be a good pouring in. And it's not, you could just take it in, right? It's not that you have to be fully participating in every group by any means. You can just be saying like, okay, I just want to hear this information. That's the really neuro-inclusive part, I think. There isn't pressure of being like called on. It's more when you're feeling compelled to join in and express.
Absolutely. So down in the show notes below, we've got a link that you can use to go directly to XXO Connect, get signed up. Come join us next Thursday, June the 1st, for our very first Her Brain Connection Lab segment in the Neurodiverse room for Mind Your Autistic Brain. We're so excited that you're here joining us because you matter in the relationship. There weren't any people out there really talking about neurodiverse relationships from her point of view. And Allie and I feel really passionate about it because that's us. And we know that there's so much that doesn't get talked about. And we've got the neurodiverse communication system. We've got a methodology and a framework that's going to make a difference in your life. And we want to help you thrive and have the most amazing relationships in your life, not romantic necessarily, but in all aspects of your life, friends, family, lovers, others, all of that and beyond.
Yes, we're really excited to see you there. Again, sorry about this yawning. Apparently I need to wake up, Carole Jean. But I will be wide awake June 1st, excited to hang out with everybody. And then the first Thursday of every month. We can't wait to see you there.
And tune in next week. We're going to have a little extra special episode before we kick off the summer all around organization. So we'll see you then. Bye, guys.